Make sure you subscribe to JerCrispy.
What's up, y'all? It's your host with the most, death the most. JerCrispy. Welcome back to another video. Ow, my finger. Anyway, let me speak of the story of my finger, bro. So this is workout place called Pro Power Source, like this, my cousin. If you probably know him, I think he was a former NFL player. I don't know if he was on a practice squad. I don't know if he's famous or not. I don't know. I really don't know the story of that. But I know another story about my other cousin. Right? Okay. Yes, I know the story of that. I don't know that he was famous or not. I don't know. People just told me that. But I jumped the box, right? I'm jumping the box, right? You feel me? Not trying to flip y'all, nigga. I jumped the box, right? My dumb ass trying to jump the box, hit my finger. Hand was swollen for at least about 4 days. My hands was like swollen about 4 days. At least about 4 days. I did that Monday. My hands were at least about swollen for 4 days. Today it's like what? The beginning of Saturday now? It's 12 o'clock. But yeah, that was the little side story. Why the video was coming out late. My hand was hurting, and I was trying to make sure my hand was straight before I get on this back on YouTube, and y'all be like, "Oh God, JerCrispy, there you go again, not coming back." And I really had people unsubscribe and resubscribe back. Like, y'all is funny, bro. Y'all some funny ass people. Y'all unsubscribe and resubscribe back. Like, but hey, we got a new subscriber though. I think his name was Shu or something like that. It started with S-H. Something like that. Shout out to you though. On some shit. I saw your notification popped up, man. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And they go down there was on fucking, I think TikTok or something like that. TikTok or Twitter. I don't know. It was on one of those two. But besides that bullshit, music wisely, I've been working on the music. Been working on music too. I ain't lying. That week I've been taking off. That week I was working on music. So I don't know what the next album gonna be. I don't know what the title is gonna be. But I'm trying to find a good title, and we're gonna drop that. We're gonna drop an album. Trying to get myself a music video to do, but I got a little side quests to do. But besides my personal life and all that shit, today what I got y'all is how to become the NYDY. Yeah, NIDY 500 champ. You should like, comment, subscribe for other social media gonna pop up on the screen. And let's see what this dude got. This by the nigga Rolex, or something like that. I don't know. But let's get it. I'm a rapper / YouTuber, but just ready to go ahead and get this on the road, man. Try to be 10,000 subscribers and a lot of subscribers, and people be like, "Oh my God, they recognize who JerCrispy is, and they recognize who Blueberry Baby is." Ooh, I just can't wait to go on tour and all that stuff. It's gonna be a blast, and doing live streams and all that. It's gonna be a good blast with y'all people. But let's get it.
Oh, okay. So the scene starts off and we see that boy Turbo glazing the top F1 driver, Guy Gagne. He's even got his whole interview memorized to the T. This has to be some LeBron levels of glaze, cause he not only has humans glazing him but snails as well. Anyways, mid-glaze, Theo's hating us brother comes out of nowhere telling him to shut it off. And this snail right here really is an elite level hater. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's right here cause it's the middle of the night, but just watch bro throughout the whole movie. He doesn't stop hating until literally the very end. So we fast forward to the next day and it's now time for all the snails to get to work. And Theo has the worst job. He has to catch all the old and soggy tomatoes. And with every method third bro tries the rotten tomato juices, still managed to spill on him. This is like taking out the trash and the forbidden garbage juices touching your leg. I would have quit the same day because y'all got me effed up.
Yeah,
Eventually,
right.
one of the tomatoes fall down the hill without breaking apart, so Theo decides to race it down the hill. And bro starts self-commentating the race like 10-year-old me playing imaginary basketball. Talking about there's 1 second left on the clock and the tomato takes the lead. And the tomato wins the race. But wait, 5 seconds have been added onto the clock and Turbo takes the lead. Anyways, the race ends and Theo looks up to see a whole group of snails laughing at him. Whole communities full of haters. So we fast forward to the next day, and as everyone's on their lunch break, out of nowhere the big red drops. The most beautiful, ripe and round tomato there is out the bunch. And big boy over here can't even tuck and roll, so the tomato lands on him and bounces into the front load of the humans. And just as the snails are about to go get the tomato, they peep the homeowner out with his lawnmower, and they instantly hit a 180 because they ain't trying to get turned into whatever them French people be eating. But Theo's over here talking to himself, talking about some I am speed, and he jumps down and the race starts for the tomato. And Theo's out here feeding himself, throwing away the
that shit nasty as fuck, bro. Y'all nasty as hell eating snails and all that shit, bro. Dude, that shit just make me want to throw up sometimes, like real nigga shit, bro.
F1 cars with sheer speed power, and just as he's about to reach the tomato, the lawnmower gets there first and he's about to get turned into Swiss cheese. And I don't know how, but the other snails managed to get on the water hose and spray Theo out the way. The tomato then splatters in Theo's face and the whole colony's looking at him like he's crazy. So Theo decides to leave out of sheer embarrassment, and the fact is dog by the time he gets out the garden is crazy, really shows how slow buddy is. Theo then goes on a little adventure and ends up on a bridge on top of a motorway. He's looking at all the cars going hella fast and peeps a bright light in the sky. And thinking it's a shooting star, he goes to make a wish. Whole time it's a plane. Get a load of this guy. But while he's looking, a truck drives past and the wind from it sends Theo flying onto the motorway. He gets flinged into a tree, lands on a railing, rolls down and lands on a Hellcat in a drag race.
Ain't Snoop Dogg in this movie too? Yeah, he gotta be in this movie, right?
The race starts and Theo's over here geeked himself, thinking he's the one driving. Niggas be in the passenger seat talking about some go faster, go faster. Nigga, get your own license. The driver then switches gears going faster and hits a wheelie in a car. But the speed causes Theo to unstick and get sent back into the engine room. The driver then turns on the turbo, sending a bunch of compound V into the engine room. And of course this starts to change Theo's DNA, turning all his red blood cells into turning wheels and his whole inside's blue. Theo then flies out the car and gets knocked unconscious. He then wakes up to being carried by a bunch of roaches, gets up and peeps 3 crows staring him down knowing he's good eats, so he decides to hide and go home. He gets there and as he's looking at himself through the car wheel, he accidentally turns on his headlights and then turns on his security alarm backing up into the wall. That compound V really worked a charm, could have given bro the weirdest powers. Just ask MM, he's well experienced in it. Anyways, Theo then goes outside for his brother's announcement, and while clapping he accidentally turns on his radio and starts playing Fade You Up from his GBL speakers. And from sheer embarrassment, Theo decides to leave yet again. And while he's leaving, minding his own business, this badass kid comes out the garage talking about some rolling down the street in my He then peeps Theo and instantly charges at him trying to crush him, but he looks down and sees that Theo's gone. He turns around to see Theo standing there out of breath, breathing heavy as hell. The kid then reverses a V trying to crush him, but Theo starts to rev up his engines and speeds out the way. The kid then puts on his glasses and charges at Theo again, but he weaves this and this really just turns into a high-speed chase. And the kid's out here moving, both an elite level driver. He might actually be Dom Toretto's son. He's even got the shades to prove it. Theo then drives into a plank, slides down onto the wheel and starts driving on the wheel, causing the kid to lose control and get flinged off, running back into the house. But Theo then also loses control, causing the bike to slam into the tomato garden where all the other snails are at, ruining all their hard work. Theo then starts getting yelled at by the manager, and his brother comes to back him, trying to get the manager to allow Theo to keep his job, but he just ends up firing both of them. And just look at Chet's face. What do you say fuck me for? And this one time I'm gonna have to agree with Chet, because bro got fired for no reason. Bro got fired because of his bloodline. Anyways, mid-argument we see a crow in the back plotting. It flies down, grabs Chet and flies away. So Theo turns on the turbo and chases after them. We get a big chase scene, and mid-air another crow pulls up and starts fighting for Chet. The same thing be happening to me with the ladies. I'll be having to tell them to chill because they really be fighting over me. They eventually drop Chet and the third one pulls up, grabbing Chet mid-air and flying off. All 3 of them land at a taco food truck and one of them goes for the good eats. But Theo comes through, smacks Chet out the way and gets eaten. But like Luffy did to Kaido, he starts moving around in his mouth paws and the bird eventually spits him out and flies away but gets hit by a truck mid-air. Chet then has a panic
karma.
attack, and just as they're about to go back to the crib, some random guy catches him in a car, puts him in his van and takes him to an underground snow racing tournament. They put down a bunch more snails, and for some reason they all have fire back blings. They all start tweaking and the race starts up, and I'm over here thinking they gonna be fast as hell. Whole time they moving 1 mile an hour, and the humans are over here laughing at Turbo like he's the one that's slow. Bro, all y'all niggas are trash. Turbo then revs up and speeds through to straighten the whole track. He jumps off, drives around for a bit, spins back, blasting through all of them, and stops in front of all the other snails. And they all over here confused, asking him, who are you? And this is where he gets the name Turbo. Chet then pulls him aside and starts saying he's gonna try get him fixed as soon as they get back to the crib. And Turbo's over here like, oh hell no. Cause how you gonna try turn him back to normal when he's a snail that can now move fast? That's just L-mans. If this was one of my brothers, I would have been hyped as hell. Tito then picks up Turbo and shows him off to his brother, saying it's his new big business plan. And of course Bro ain't hearing none of it, cause he's been given no context. He's just been shown a snail and been told, yeah, this gonna get us out the mud. I wouldn't believe him either. We then fast forward to later that night, and Tito tucks Turbo into bed and gives him a kiss goodnight. Bro's trying to contract every disease on the planet. Right. Tito leaves and the rest of the squad then pull up, and we get introduced to everyone. We got Whiplash, Skidmark, Burn, Smooth Move, and White Shadow.
There you go.
And after seeing his
Snoop Dogg was Smooth Spoon.
performance, Whiplash wants him to join his crew, and Turbo's over here like, Whiplash, you not hanging with me. And they take offense to this, so they decide to challenge Turbo. First one to the shooting star wins. The race starts and White Shadow jumps onto the plank they're on, sending them flying up into the sky. And they use their bat blings to land into some electrical wires sliding down towards the shooting star. And Snoop Dogg over here has a whole ball to skate on. Who are these snails? Turbo then speeds after them and goes up a building onto the same electrical wire they're on. He blasts past them but stops right before the finish line because he can't jump over to the shooting star. And then he looks back to see the whole squad jumping past him onto the shooting star, winning the race. And hey, you gotta give credit where credit's due. These guys are tough. Even though they're snails, they know how to get around. This is like watching Donna Kick play. Even though he's slow as hell, he still manages to get buckets. So Turbo joins the crew, and we fast forward to the next day as Tito's thinking of different business plans to use Turbo in. And while he's talking, Turbo peeps an Indy 500 van behind him. So he jumps off his hand and starts creating arrows towards it, showing Tito he wants to race in it. Tito then goes to tell his brother about this plan, and of course he says no due to the 20,000 entry fee. So he then pitches this idea to the other workers in the plaza, and of course they also say no due to the risk. And Chet's hating us is over here happy as hell. Nigga ain't trying to see no one win. So the crew decides to take it into their own hands. White Shadow jumps onto the front of the bus, getting their attention. Snoop Dogg lands on the steering wheel and turns them into the plaza. Burn then shoots out their tires, and Skidmark pops them with some bottles so they can't go anywhere until they get repairs. Turbo then starts circling the sign to get them to stay. He then puts on a show for them, and each of the employees at the plaza get a day of customers. And after Tito's plan worked, the squad decides to gather up the money to enter into the Indy 500. Tito and everyone else then take the food truck and go, and Tito steals a bunch of Angelo's money for no reason. They already gave you the money to enter. Just took his life savings without giving him a warning. While on the road trip, they upgrade Turbo's drip, and I ain't gonna lie, he got that shit on. They don't give him a whole new battling, and it actually allows him to go faster because of the spoiler. This is like that one nigga said in the game talking about he needs to change skins to play better, and it actually works. Anyways, they then make it to the venue, and the first thing they go do is watch Gagne race. And bro hits his PR with a 4-lap average of 230 miles an hour. Now I don't know nothing about F1 racing.
Out of all the memes, out of all the memes of that shit, bro, you have to hit that little nasty ass, funky ass. I mean, pick your meme, my brother. God damn.
A 4-lap average of 230 miles an hour. Now I don't know nothing about F1 racing, so I'm gonna take this movie's word for it and say that's tough. We then see Gagne get her to have an interview. Turbo pulls Tito towards the interview, and Tito shows off Turbo as his racer, and everyone starts laughing at him, which is granted because bro's a snail. They probably thinking he's a local crackhead on another run. But what deeply triggered me is seeing that boy Chet smiling ear to ear, knowing his brother's getting laughed at right now. Didn't even tell Turbo to prove them wrong. He's just sitting there enjoying the show. This is elite level hating. Reverse Flash would be very proud. So the snails decide to take matters into their own hands again. They really carrying the movie right now. White Shadow jumps onto the tree they're on, flinging them onto the security guards, distracting them. And Turbo hits the dash into the track. And that boy is moving. He's even using a spoiler to help him go faster. He ends off with 4 laps and ends up hitting a 4-lap average of 226, allowing him to qualify, and he's even faster than Gagne. And I know Gagne is heated. He's worked his whole life for that, just for a snail to pull up and beat him first try. I would have put on my Timbs and started stomping on every snail I ever saw again. Anyways, Anyways, we fast forward to later that night and Chet's trying to talk Turbo out of it. To be fair, he says he's worried for him and doesn't want him to get hurt, but he then starts to see that Turbo's delusional and he's not gonna be there to watch his brother chase an impossible dream. And that right there is ill man's, cause if he's gonna do it anyways, you might as well be there to support him. Turbo then leaves out frustration and heads over to Gunye's garage, and as he's looking around at all the trophies, Gunye pulls up, and at first he starts spitting some good advice, saying that the world needs underdogs and dreamers, but then it takes a turn for the worst and bro starts showing his true colours, as he starts to see that these dreamers and underdogs then wake up to reality and realize that they've lost. And then he hits Turbo with the most disrespectful move, picking him up and starts zooming him around like he's a toy car. I would have hit bro with a 1-2 uppercut cause the disrespect. Gunye then thanks Turbo for the publicity he's bringing him and says that everyone's now going to see him win the race, and then drops Turbo off at the front and tells him to run along. And ladies and gentlemen, is now...
Oh, that's just fucked up with it.
Sorry to ruin your groove. Isn't that the worst? What if I told you that there was a way for you to skip ads like this forever? This is Pi, and if it sounds familiar to you, it's probably because you've seen their ads everywhere.
And ladies and gentlemen, is now race day. Tito gives Turbo a pep talk saying that it's now their time to make their mark and prove to the world they really like that. The whole he then dips and Chet stays back and he doesn't want to watch it. And bro gets captured within 2 seconds by a little kid. I mean, what did bro really think was gonna happen? He was expecting to chill by the stairs and wait for the race to finish. Nigga, no, you're a snail. Someone's either gonna pick you up or step on you. Anyways, they drop off Turbo at the track and all the races start.
Shit.
Their warm-up lap before the race actually starts. The green flag then gets waved and the race is officially underway, and Turbo's over here instantly struggling, not trying to get crushed by the 800 kg F1 cars. He almost gets squashed in between these two cars, so he brakes and almost gets squashed again. And even the announcers nobody's cooked, they saying the race is over for him. Turbo drops back to 21st place by the 50th lap, and Gunye's over here geeked as hell knowing he's beating a snail. Aye buddy, this is not a flex, no one's impressed, you should be winning. Turbo then gets hit with a flashbang by one of the cars. Lap 30 then rolls around and all the cars go to take a pit stop, and Gunye's over here chilling. He even signs a paper mid-stop and drives off still in first place. Turbo then comes to take his pit stop, and Tito and the rest of the guys are selling. They bump heads and drop all the equipment, so the snails decide to take matters into their own hands for the third time this movie. They carrying. They hit him with some lip balm, wax him and then rehydrate him, and torture him with some KSI music, recreating the experience of the race. Nick Fury then slaps Turbo and gives him some W advice, saying that he should stop driving like a car and that he's a snail, so he should start acting like one. Turbo then goes back onto the track and tries to go around a car, but is blocked off by the edge of the track and another car. He then remembers Nick Fury's words and decides to go underneath it, and bro almost gets taken out scratching the bottom of the car, but he makes it through, and from here on out it's basically free eats for him. He just starts zooming underneath cars, even hitting wall runs to get in front, going higher and higher up the leaderboard. Bro has the most unfair advantage of all time in the sport. He starts weaving in the...
Oh shit.
Get in front, going higher and higher up the leaderboard. Bro has the most unfair advantage of all time in the sport. He starts weaving the debris, jumps off this car and sees a...
I'm proud. I'm trying to pause it so I can get a good thumbnail.
car crash happening in front of him. He sees a tire coming flying towards him and jumps through the hole in the middle. This was so tough, he even got his brother to stop hating. Turbo then gets into second place right behind Gunye, and bro starts stressing. He cuts off Turbo, forcing him to go into the marbles. I guess his car's too low for Turbo to go underneath, and while weaving all the marbles, Turbo gets hit and gets slammed into the wall, giving him a concussion. He barely manages to get back to his pit stop. They take off his back bling and his shell is revealed to have a crack in it. So Tito and the other humans try pull Turbo at the race, but he's over here like, oh hell no, and zooms off back into the race. Turbo then passes all the cars, getting back into second place, and as he's going under Gunye's car, he starts to lag like that one homie on 800 ping, and his speed turns off, causing about 10 cars to go past him. He manages to turn it back on and gets back into second place, but his ping rises again due to the crack in his shell, and his speed turns off again, and I don't know how he's weaving these cars with no speed. Turbo then starts hallucinating like that one crackhead on the bus, thinking of himself having to go back to working in the garden. Turbo eventually manages to get his speed back on and catches up to Gunye again. These other drivers are really trash. Bro's passed him like 3 times in a row. Gunye manages to corner Turbo again, and the whole stadium including Gunye thinks that Turbo's cooked, but we see him driving on Gunye's wheel. He jumps off onto the wall and flips over Gunye's car, landing in first place with the finish line visible in front of him, and they just start cutting up in between the lapped cars. Turbo then gets through 2 cars, trapping Gunye behind them, so Gunye says fuck it and decides to go through the marbles to catch up. He manages to get past Turbo but loses control of his car due to the marbles crashing into the 2 cars in front of him, causing a whole scene. Turbo manages to weave through the debris but gets flinged up into the air. And this nigga Gagne is crazy cause he slaps Turbo mid-air. Some other cars then crashed and the cars behind have to stop causing a gridlock. We then see Turbo waking up and he's right in front of the finish line, so he decides to finish off the race. But for some reason his engine won't start and he looks back to see a huge gaping hole in the side of his shell because of the hit he took from Gagne. And out of pure hopelessness he shells up, giving up the race. And after seeing his brother in distress, Chet finally stops being a hater and faces all his fears to help his brother out. He slides out the window, jumps on a balloon, flips through a pretzel, and somehow, someway the squad pulls up on a bunch of crows after taming them. What can't these snails do? They've been carrying this movie on their back this whole time.
God.
They pick up Chet and take him to Turbo. They get there and Chet actually gives some W advice, saying that never giving up is Turbo's best quality, so we should go out there, finish this race and win it. And this puts the battery in Turbo's back, plus he starts moving towards the finish line and everyone starts cheering for him, including Angelo, Tito's brother, back home. But as he's going, we see that boy Gagne in his Asda bag. Bo just won't give up cause he flips over his car, hops in and trying to drive it, but it goes up his smokes like Lil TJ's rap career. He then goes to pull his car to the finish line. Bo ain't trying to lose by any circumstances, but one of the wheels on the car fall off and almost hit Turbo, but he manages to jump out the way and Gagne gets in front of his car and starts to pull it, gaining ground on Turbo. But as he's pulling, the car gets trapped on some debris, so he just decides to try and step on Turbo. He misses 3 times and Chet tells Turbo to tuck and roll. Turbo just about tucks and rolls in time, causing Gagne to miss, and he starts rolling towards the finish line. Gagne peeps this and decides he don't even want to win the race no more, he just wants to murk Turbo. So he Superman jumps towards him trying to crush him with his hand, but he misses and Turbo flips over the finish line, winning the race. The whole stadium then celebrates, but Abuela's over here like Aaron the plumber cause she needs her fade immediately. She pulls up on Gagne and starts stomping him out for what he did to Turbo. Anyways, the whole squad celebrates, lifting up the trophy. Tito buys his brother a new stove with the money from the tournament, and business is booming at the Starlight Plaza. We then find out that Turbo's all healed up and they replace his back bling. The whole crew then go to have a race, and for some reason the whole crew's upgraded with gadgets allowing them to go faster. But just before the race starts, Turbo gets back his powers, the race starts, and the movie ends. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this video. Peace. Upgraded with gadgets allowing them to go faster. But just before the race starts, Turbo gets back his powers, the race starts, and the movie ends. And that's exactly
That might be the thumbnail. Fuck that shit. I ain't even gonna hold you. That's a fire ass thumbnail.
to go faster. But just before the race starts, Turbo gets back his powers, the race starts, and the movie ends. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this video.
I'm gonna do that. Alright. Okay. That's gonna be the thumbnail. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media that did pop up on the screen. We're on the road to 300. Wait, 300 or 400? One out of those two. One out of those two. I think 300 or 400. One of those. I see y'all when I see y'all. Love y'all to the bottom of heart, and I'm out.